History remembers the Vikings as bloodthirsty conquerors who chose to burn the world. But history got it wrong. They didn't leave home for glory. They left because 8th century Norway was a frozen prison of stone and starvation. A land that offered no soil, no mercy, and no future. Stay, and you starve. Sail, and you might die. How the most unforgiving land on earth forced ordinary farmers to become history's deadliest warriors. To understand the Vikings, you must first understand the geological trap that raised them. Mountain walls thousands of feet high cut off entire communities from one another, locking families in near total isolation. Less than 3% of Norway's land was arable. The rest was impenetrable rock, ice, and dense wilderness. So when the local population grew even slightly, the fragile balance shattered. The soil simply could not feed them all. With no land left to farm and nowhere to expand inland, young men faced a silent, inescapable truth. They were trapped, and the true catastrophe was about to begin as the sun began to disappear. In the 6th and 8th centuries, a series of volcanic winters struck the northern hemisphere, plunging Scandinavia into dark, endless cold. Crops rotted in the frozen soil before they could sprout. Livestock froze to death in their barns. To the Norse, this wasn't just bad weather. It was the Fimbulwinter, the mythical 3-year winter that heralded the end of the world. When food ran out, tradition and kinship broke down, neighbors became rivals, and trade turned into desperate conflict. Trapped between frozen mountains and famine, they realized their land could no longer sustain life. Only one path remained. To survive, they would have to conquer the North Sea. But first, they needed to build something the world had never seen before. The same brutal climate that starved them produced dense, ultra-flexible oak, the ultimate raw material for survival. Using clinker building techniques, they created hulls that didn't fight the ocean waves, but flexed with them. Its shallow draft allowed it to cross open oceans, yet sail straight onto sandy beaches and up shallow rivers. Without compasses or maps, they navigated by reading the sun through optical crystals and observing the flight of seabirds. Driven by desperate necessity, the farmers of Norway had accidentally engineered the most dangerous naval force on Earth. And in the summer of 793, their desperate search for resources would collide with an unsuspecting world. On a quiet shore in Northumbria stood Lindisfarne, a wealthy, undefended monastery that had never known violence. In June 793, those who were driven out by cold and starvation set foot on rich, fertile soil for the first time. To Western Europe, they were heathen devils sent by God. But to the Norse, this was simply securing the grain and silver their families needed to survive. The raid on Lindisfarne sent a shockwave across the continent, marking the violent dawn of the Viking Age. Today, the fjords of Norway stand in peaceful silence. The brutal winters of the past have faded into history. The world remembers the Vikings for the kingdoms they conquered and the fires they started. But look closer at this frozen rock, and you realize the Vikings were never born from an ambition to conquer. They were created by a land that simply refused to feed them